So by the time we reached that, it was kind of how it was meant to be. That's how I think of it. You know, it's my destiny. You're on stage and you're singing to a crowd of people that you don't know them, don't even speak their language most of the time, but they're singing your songs. You know what I mean? You just got to give a lot of thanks to that. So every day I get up, I go, thank you. Go out the brew. Yo, man, it's your boy. I'm like, who's that? Go Steve. I go, Steve, it's Stevie Wonder. I went, yeah, right. Sing me something. And then he did. I was like, Jesus Christ. He's taught me how to harmonize, taught me how to sing, taught me how to produce, how to arrange. You know what I mean? To put the vibes into something. So he's all encompassing. So to actually get a song written for you by the guys as well, that's just, you can't buy that. I just enjoy myself so much making music. I give thanks for it every day, and I still get that fire in my belly. Because, you know, when I put an album together, it's like putting a puzzle together. You want somebody to put that, you know, needle on the record and then not stop listening until it's all finished. But to do that, you have to take them on a journey. My old manager said he took one of my records to Capitol one day, and he said, we got Craig David, why do we need him? Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
And that was the thing then. Yeah. I said it's you know, but that's not going to stop me from making my music.
Exciting times ahead, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to keep working.
Love it.
It's just short life. Got to live it properly.
I believe everyone has a story to tell. Through seeking true, authentic insights about the entrepreneurial journey, I provide a platform for our peers to share their stories and inspire those that listen. This is the County Business Talks podcast, produced by H2 Productions. Okay, listen, welcome everyone to the County Business Talks podcast live show. Listen, buzzing to be here, but obviously at Soho House, amazing venue. I'm Sam Thomas, obviously I'm the host of the County Business Talks podcast, also co-founder of County Business Clubs. We're a members organisation which share people's stories, business stories, inspirational career stories, and that's what we're about. That's what obviously the podcast is mainly about. I'm really overwhelmed, obviously, with the amazing turnout that we've got tonight, and I know that's very much to do with our esteemed guest. He's a music icon with a career spanning 4 decades, a signature hit tune that led onto 8 solo albums, collaborations with some of the biggest names in pop music history. Stevie Wonder, Ware, Erykah Badu, just to name a few people. A catalogue of side projects more extensive than many artists' entire working lifetimes. A one-man stage show, an MBE pinned to his chest by King Charles. I'm delighted to welcome the legend, Omar Lyefook MBE to the stage.
Good evening.
Omar, how you doing?
All right, not too bad, thanks.
Mate, it's great to have you here. Thanks for coming down. Look, absolutely buzzing.
Only 10 minutes up the road, so.
Yeah, we're winning.
Perfect.
Mate, look, we're going to kick things off. Just jump straight in. Look,
Sure.
tell me a little bit about the life growing up. Obviously, your dad, a musician, siblings, musician. Was music always going to be the path for you?
Yeah, my dad bought me my first drum kit when I was about 5 years old. My mum and dad split up when I was 1, and then they got back together when I was 18, which is a bit crazy. But in the middle of that, we moved to Canterbury. So I grew up in Canterbury. Excuse me, let me switch that off. So I grew up in Canterbury, and my first experience of learning an instrument was my next door neighbour she was about 90 years old, and she had this cornet that she kept in a shed, and it was really rusty, banged up, and I used to take it to school in a plastic bag when everybody else had a brand new trumpet and everything else like that. But yeah, I started to learn like how to read music and play music from that, and then from there I started to play the piano. I started to learn percussion. Then I learned the tuba, actually the baritone, then the tuba as well. And I was playing in orchestras, brass bands, choirs, percussion ensembles, anything to do with music. I was in there basically.
You was hooked from 5 years old all the way.
From 5 years old. I mean, I started learning the piano when I was about 8. They said I was a bit old to start learning, and I was thinking 8 years old. That's pretty new, isn't it? You know what I mean? But from I started to learn the piano, then everything started to make sense. Because with the piano, you get the bass, you get the treble, you get all the different keys and everything. And it's right there in front of you. But I didn't start writing music till I was about 14.
So from then on, was you like that was always going to be the path for you? Just didn't. Was there anything else in your teens where you thought, I'm gonna give that a go? Or
I was all right at football. I remember that because when
what
it was
position did you play?
Was I a winger? Whatever. It was wherever I could get a position with. But the football practice was the same time as the band practice. Yeah. So I had to make a decision, and music just was singing to me. So that's the way I went.
Amazing. And then, like as you just mentioned, you obviously multi-instrumentalist. You played loads of different, different stuff. So you went to the music school as well. Talk to me about that experience. What was that when you went there?
Well, I started off at Saturday morning music school in Maidstone, and then I managed to get a place at Cheetham School of Music in Manchester, which is like the second most expensive music school in the whole of Europe. We managed to get a scholarship, and it was the best 2 years of my life. I mean, I came out with no qualifications. I did A-level and double A-level music and came out with an F and an E or a Z or something that really didn't make any sense. But the whole experience of like living with other musicians 24 hours was amazing. I mean, my friend Max Beasley was 2 years below me. Do you know Max Beasley? Yeah. Actor, musician. He was amazing. In fact, when I got suspended, actually I got expelled from boarding. I had to stay at his house as well, which is just up the road. And that was like the worst thing, that I couldn't stay in the school and I had to be a day pupil. But we had a band at school. My dad bought me a 4-track tape recorder, so I could write my songs and stuff, and it was just the best time ever. I mean, if you seen Animal House, it was like that. It was exactly like that. So we didn't kill a horse in the head teacher's office, but very similar stuff.
Wow. And it's interesting you say about that education. I talk about it on the podcast quite a lot generally about the education piece, and obviously coming out and having I failed my A-levels as well. I didn't do great at school, but you can come out of that and actually, especially nowadays, people, you can make a career. I'm not that bad mad in the education system at all, and obviously it's great to get a good education, but actually you can still go on and get great careers.
I think experience is the key thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Be able to play with musicians. I mean, I like to use a lot of strings in my compositions, because of the effect. I mean, when you do an orchestra course, which is like a week, it's like you're doing 7 days, day in, day out, you're rehearsing all these big, Mahler, Brahms, Dvorak, Debussy, and I think it's the vibration of the strings does something to you, and especially on the last day, when you're going home and stuff, and you're playing all this amazing classical music, it does something to you. It affects you, and I think I've put it into the music itself.
Amazing. And then when did like songwriting and singing, I guess singing, become the main focus for you? When was that?
When I was about 14, I started to. I worked out, if you get a tape recorder, if you get 2 tape recorders, and you record something on one, and then you play that back and record on the other one, playing something else, then you can build up. You keep bouncing, and you can actually end up with a full recording. And my dad, he had his own recording studio in Edgware Road. And so I had a friend that I used to record with, Jesse Wilson. And we used to like spend weekends putting stuff together there. But I remember when I first started, somebody said, yeah, nice music, but you shouldn't sing. And I was like, who else is going to do it? You know what I mean? And listen, my first recording that I ever did, my first record, I hated. After 2 weeks of having to promote this thing, because it was the same time as 5 Star. Who's old enough to remember Five Star? That was a rhetorical question, actually. You didn't give yourself away like that. I had to do PAs after Five Star. So you imagine they were massive like this time, you know what I mean? And then, so I'm basically going out when everybody's leaving. And plus then I'm singing this song that I hated with a passion. I was like, so from then on I decided any music that I'm gonna make, I have to like it. Because you have to sing these songs for the rest of your life. It's like a ball and chain around your neck. So you have to make sure it's good. And I think I managed to stick to that credo.
Yeah, amazing. And obviously the debut album, there's nothing like this, which obviously many people.
1990, actually was the original one. And is he a plant?
Yeah.
Is that what he did?
Well done, mate. Cheers. But we talk to you because obviously originally you released it under your father's
Congo Dance.
Congo.
Yeah.
And then, but then you re-released it again with via.
We're Talking Loud. Yeah. So my dad started his own, a little bit of history for you. My dad started his own record label called Congo Dance in the 70s because he was playing drums, and then he had his own band called Jalayan, a reggae band. And also my little brothers had their own little band called Burning Bush, which was a bit like Musical Youth as well. But when I started to make stuff, he was looking for a soul act, a soul artist. So then that's how I started to, when your dad owns his own record label, it's quite easy to get on the ladder. But that was that's kind of how everything started.
Talk me through like the decision then to obviously, because you launched it with then and re-release it with the new label. What was the decision?
So basically, after we released it initially, it went to number 54 without any radio, without any video, without any major kind of like promotion. It did something because people were playing on pirate stations or in the clubs. Giles Peterson and Norman Jay had started Talking Loud, and they were looking for other acts to fit the label. And I mean, they had people like Incognito, Young Disciples, Galliano as well. And this is around the same time as Brand New Heavies. All of us are trying to do the retro soul thing. And they just came and said, look, we can take this international, which is basically what it did. So we remixed it, or remastered it, I should say. So it came out again the next year in 1991, and that's when you see me on Top of the Pops.
What's that? Like, talk to me a little bit about that feeling then of like you wanted a career in music, because how old was you then? What, 21?
21.
And like 21 years old, Top of the Pops.
I've always had a sense of this is my destiny. I've always been kind of a show-off, always wanted to like stand out from the crowd. I mean, I used to body pop in Canterbury. It was Saturday. Hey, listen, don't knock it. I got £9 one day. It's a lot of money. But from doing that, you walk into the town and people shout, "Oh, Omar!" I'm like, I have no idea who this person is. But that was like a little level of fame that I got from then. So for me to suddenly go from there, I mean, the other thing is as well, I'd released 4 singles previous to that as well. So my fame had started growing a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and So by the time we reached that, it was kind of how it was meant to be. That's how I think of it. It's my destiny, basically. I'm quite a good show off.
I guess it's that as well. Like from a lot of business owners and stuff in here as well. But it's that resilience, that belief. You start a business, you've got to have that belief that you're going to go on and achieve something.
You got to be hard-headed about it. You got to be realistic also. I mean, because obviously you got to pay bills, you got to look after your kids and family and eat and stuff like that. So you have to be realistic to know how far you're going to go. And I've just been kind of blessed. I've got to say, I've been looked after by whoever's looking after me. If you believe in God or higher power or whatever, that's just how I've been looked after. And I've never sought, to be in the charts or to be in the fashion or what's happening now. I'm just an artist that's trying to express himself and trying to, lead some other people with me. I find like-minded other people that are into the grooves that I like to listen to or that I like to make. I mean, there's no better buzz than when you're on stage and you're singing to a crowd of people that you don't know them, don't even speak their language most of the time, but they're singing your songs. You know what I mean? You just got to give a lot of thanks to that. So every day I get up, I go, thank you.
I love that. Talk to me a little bit about like, a career span as long as yours has within the creative industry with music, but talk to me a little bit. I often talk on the podcast about challenges and things that we face. Look, we've just come through the last few years, the global pandemic. Loads of people will come on and talk to me about the challenges they face in that. But within the industry that you've been in, to have a career and as long as you have, talk to me about some of the challenges. Was there ever a point that you felt to yourself, maybe, you know what, this ain't for me? Or
oh yeah, there's been a couple of times when you sort of, how much have I got left in the bank, and then I've got to pay the bills and some of this. I mean, there was one point I was thinking about going back to being a waiter because I got really good tips. Just being a waiter, you know what I mean? You got, like I said, you got to be realistic about it. But I was blessed enough to to power on through, and then with the love of the fans, people listening to my music. That's helped me no end. I mean, when the pandemic hit, I was just about to tour the States and Brazil. Man, and you know what I mean? And then all this stuff, all of a sudden you just sucked away, and you had to think on my feet what to do. And what I did was I bought some GoPro cameras, some studio equipment to set it up so I could do live streams, because that was the only way that I could perform to people, and that seemed to work. That got me through like the really bumpy times, you know. And give thanks again that I managed to survive that.
But it's that, again, the creative thing, again, I speak about it a lot, and that, especially during that lockdown, people having to look at their businesses and whatever that looks like and go, oh, I've got to come up with a different idea. Like, I used to host events,
Right,
and you can't do any events, can't do it. So you have got to think a little bit outside the box and think. So I'm keen to like tap into the entrepreneurial side of you, I guess, from like, but like obviously from a creative point of view, that's a given. You've got that creative skill set.
Yeah.
Then, but again, there's got to be a business element to the music industry.
But we were talking about this before. I don't really consider myself an entrepreneur. You know, I've got a friend. His name is Raheem Devon, very amazing singer, and he was selling greetings for $100 a pop. Do you know what I mean? He was doing that kind of thing. But then again, I did do doorstep serenades. As well.
Love that.
You know, pay me the right money. I'll stand at the end of your driveway, and I will sing the song to you. And that's it.
Well, I'll tell you what, my wife's in here. We're gonna have that soon.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Book it in there. I'll put your angels for that. Hey, that's awesome. That's all. Well, look, let's go on a little bit with some challenges. Like you said, COVID and stuff affected everyone. I think it changed people's mindsets around that. But look, I got, obviously, looking at your bio and the research beforehand, I could have, if I'd done the list of your successes and stuff over the course of your career, at the start of the intro, we probably would have run out a bit of time because there's so many and loads of bits and pieces. Talk to me about, if you had to name sort of a key highlight. I mean, look, we'll go to 2006 Best Neo Soul Act, 2012 your MBE and stuff like that. But could you, if you looked over your career, that one?
Oh, do you want to pick one?
Pick a highlight. Talk to me about a couple of highlights. I'll chuck a couple in there. Chuck a couple.
Well, okay, working with Stevie Wonder would definitely be right up there. Look at that! I just get a clap for working with him. You know what I mean? Imagine being him. That was. I've met Stevie like through the years at different points in my life. Like first time I actually was in the same vicinity was when I was about 16, and he came to an estate in West London, and he said, "I know somebody couldn't come to see me, so I came to see you." And that was like, wow, that blew me away. And then the next time I actually got to shake his hand because my dad knew his representative, Keith Harris, over here. It's a picture of that. And then the next time, I got to give him my second album, and then he said, "You really like the music? He wants to write me my first number one. I'm like, I don't care where it goes. Let's just do something together. Yeah. And then, to make a long story longer, so we had set up a time. This is 92, I think, 92 or 93, and I'm in LA, and I'm told, just wait for the call. You're gonna get the call from Stevie. He wants you to come to the studio. And so I'm waiting all day. And then midnight comes, and then I finally get the call, and he says, come down to Wonderland, which is where he's recorded, songs in the key of life, all these amazing albums. And I get there, and I'm still waiting for another 2 hours. And then finally, Stevie comes through, and he goes, right, yeah, follow me to this thing. So we're walking through to this tiny room with a keyboard set up, and we're having a little conversation. And then he starts talking about the price of fish. And I'm like, what? And then he's falling asleep. So I'm like, yeah, maybe we just cut it right now. So then fast forward 8 years later, I get a phone call out the blue. Yo, man, it's your boy. I'm like, who's that? Go, Steve. I go, Steve who? It's Stevie Wonder. I went, yeah, right. Sing me something. And then he did. I was like, Jesus Christ.
What did he sing?
I don't know, it's just Steve, you know what I mean? Did some acrobatics or something. And then for 2 weeks, I'm like his ambassador. We're in clubs, hotel, studio. I'm like, in the VIP section, people are coming, oh, Mark, do you think it's all right if I can meet Stevie? I'm like, yeah, hold on 1 second. Yeah. like I'm there, like I'm in charge. And then we finally go to the studio. And I told so many people to come at a certain time, like 11 o'clock. He doesn't turn up until 5 a.m. So everybody's like, you bullshit. He's not coming. 5 a.m. he turns up, and we put something down. That was okay. 11 a.m. the next day, he calls me, goes, I got another tune. I went, let's go again. And that was Feeling You, which is on my 6th album, I think. At the end. Yeah.
I'm not going to be Stevie Wonder. let's be honest. Wow. Is that point when you're doing something like that, like as an artist, is that moment, is that a dream come true now?
Oh, absolutely. I've been listening to Stevie since I was about 8 years old. My first album I bought was Secret Life of Plants, before anything else. And that was, for an 8-year-old kid to get onto that, it's kind of deep. But he's taught me how to harmonize, taught me how to sing, taught me how to produce, how to arrange, you know what I mean, to put the vibes into something. So he's all-encompassing. So to actually get a song written for you by the guys as well, that's just, you can't buy that,
Yeah. And I'm keen, because I often talk about, I've spoke to different people, like people who have sold businesses for millions. I've talked to Olympic gold medalists and stuff like that. Is that, I'm always keen to see that when you get to a moment like that magical moment, do you look back now, do you look back at that time and really go, I appreciate it. I was in that moment, and I'll remember, and I'll appreciate that.
I filmed it as well.
Really?
Even though I wasn't supposed to. But he's not going to see the camera, so I kind of... That wasn't a joke. It wasn't a cheap joke. I just had to film behind his because Stevie Wonder, that's a moment that you're not going to get back. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the footage is fantastic. He's on the drums, he's on the keyboards, he's singing. You know what I mean? He's just hanging out with the guys, and just, amazing.
That's magical moment. Well, look, your career's spanned, like, as I mentioned, decades and multiple genres, obviously jazz, soul, hip hop. Over that time, talk to me about obviously you've stayed creatively relevant, innovated. Talk to me a little bit about that. What do you think is the key, I guess, to having the longevity as you have in the music career?
I just think stubbornness, for one, for sure. Yeah, because I just enjoy myself so much making music. I give thanks for it every day, and I still get that fire in my belly, when you make that tune and you're like, wow, is it just me? And then I tell you, the difference now is the technology, because of the internet stuff. You can communicate directly with your fans straight away. You don't have to wait for the circuit for it to go around and the, the dub plates or whatever like that. You can just stick on the live and then bam, you got the people there and then they're giving you the feedback. And I've had so many great responses from stuff that I'm just doing in the studio. I kind of got that from Lenny Kravitz because I saw him doing something quite similar, and I was like, I like what he does. I love his vibe too. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to go with the technology. I mean, there's so many different things that we've gone through. DAT machines and mini discs and before we were using VHS tapes to record, you know what I mean? And there's reel-to-reels and stuff. You got to keep up with all that kind of stuff. But there are times when I go back to the old equipment to listen to stuff that I might have done back then. Because, when I put an album together, it's like putting a puzzle together. You want somebody to put that, needle on the record and then not stop listening until it's all finished. But to do that, you have to take them on a journey. And not every song you're writing in sequence does that. I put my last album, the first song that's called Vicky's Tune. That's the name of the mother of my girls. I started writing that in 2003. And I passed over 2 albums before I actually used it. Because it didn't make sense until that time to do it, which is 2017, 2016. Basically. So it's just getting all these things together and, and my brother's very good at doing that as well. He goes, I bet you forgot that, innit? Listen to that. I was like, who's that? He goes, that's you, man. I'm like, wow, I totally forgot that. Because we got so much, and he's more prolific than I am because he will write a song and then do 6 remixes to that one song on that day. You know what I mean? So he's such a machine. But yeah. Like I said, it's all blessings.
That's amazing, isn't it? Because he's a Grammy winner as well, isn't he?
Yes, he's a Grammy Award winner. I'm not. Thank you for reminding me.
You brought him up. I weren't even going to ask that question.
Yeah, he got a Grammy for working on Steve and Marley's album as well. He knows all the Marley boys. Julian Marley's his best mate as well. He's been on tour with him. But yeah, he's thoroughly deserved. He should get more awards.
And do you do a lot of stuff together, you and your brother?
The last album was our on purpose collaboration. But yeah, on each album, you'll hear something, an influence or a production of his. Scratches beats, Scratches proper beats. The Scratch Professor.
And as siblings go, how close you are, is there
yes.
rivalry? Yeah?
Yeah. It's my brother, isn't it? I want to hug and then like, get up, mate. The amount of times we had fights and just fuck off out of the studio. I'm not coming back. No, 10 minutes later. All right, should we finish that last 8 bars? You know what I mean? We got over it as well. So, when I've been watching this thing about Will and Harry, I'm like, I totally get it. It's brothers, man, This is how it is, It's love.
I've got an older brother. I remember it going up and the competitive edge there. He's got.
I
was a younger brother as well, so I had to beat him, of course.
Right.
Everything. I tried. Sure. But look, I want to. I guess looking at some of the changes in the industry over the years, I'd be keen to. You mentioned about obviously the modern technology and stuff like that. Would you, starting a career? Would you prefer to start it now or go back to how it was?
Oh, definitely where I was. I feel the competition now and the level of competition as well. The amount of singers and some of these kids. They're barely out their nappies and they're amazing on the instruments that they're doing. There's one kid who's playing drums. I was I'm not going to use that analogy. We're in very decent company, but it's just it's incredible. But it's so many. And so much choice. You've got to battle your way through all this to stand out. You know what I mean? And I didn't have to do that back then, even though it was harder in other respects. Being a black performer, being a black artist, there was this one in, one out policy that they used to have. My old manager said he took one of my records to Capitol one day, and he said, "We got Craig David. Why do we need him?" Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
And that was the thing then. Yeah. I said it's but that's not going to stop me from making my music. It's up to them, man, what they do. So yeah, little things like that, but that would never deter me from doing what I do.
But nowadays, although again, I guess with social media and stuff, there's lots more people easier to get something out there. Like if you people can be in their room and just go.
I think that is the plus thing
Side,
to it, because then, you know, back in the day it was a record label dictating what the output was for the radio station, for the main radio station, or for the TV show. And they had a tight hold on that. Whereas now people can just make whatever music they want, and they're not beholden to this corporate thing going on, which I think is much better for the artist. But like I said, you got to find a way to get paid. Turn that into money. And now with the streaming thing, you know, I was kind of okay with it at the beginning, but now I'm sort of like, well, come on now. You know what I mean? Because now the record label gets the money, not the artist. Which is that's completely twisted. That's absolutely out of order. So something has to happen about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, mate, I'll get it. And I think that I want to jump on just about the collaborations. You mentioned, obviously, we've gone through a bit of a brilliant Stevie Wonder story, but talk to me about some of the other moments, like Erykah Badu, Common D'Angelo, Soul to Star. I mean, look,
Erykah and Common can put in the same one. I got a phone call. She was in England, and people were telling me that she was talking about me on the radio, because one of her favourite songs is Little Boy, and then my manager suggested that I do a version of Be Thankful by William DeVaughn. And I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of got this. I think I know what I'm doing. But I was looking for somebody to sing it with. And the original person I had thought of said no. And then out of the blue, Erykah calls me. Says, what are you doing? I'm like, I've got this tune. You want to come and sing? And when she was recording her bit, Common was in the studio. I didn't even know. I didn't know him then. I think it was Common Sense back then. And then the week before we're supposed to release the album, her record label calls my label and says we can't use her because why? Because we said so. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And I knew Kadar Massenberg, who manages, I think he still manages her, and D'Angelo, and he just gave me some proper attitude. So I just said to the label, listen, you need to sort this out. But in the meantime, I had to find another sort of like a featured artist. And Angie Stone kind of came out of the blue and said, yeah, I'll do this. Fantastic. Cost me $5, but it was worth it. And then they turned around and said, yeah, you can use it now. So I ended up with 2 versions of the same song, but you know, it was all's well that ends well.
And what do you, like, if you're looking for someone to collaborate with, is it that you come up with that tune and you think to yourself, oh, that voice, that's going to be good with that, or what is it you look for?
It's all about vibes. It's about if it's the right place, right time, if they're up to do, you know, to do the task. I mean, I did a song with Kelly LaRock that came out of nowhere as well, and I was really nervous to work with her, but the end result was fantastic. It's called Come On. I got to write a song for and with Sarita Wright. You know who that is? That's Stevie Wonder's ex-wife, and she's my favourite female vocalist of all time. Wow. And I managed to do it, I think it was the year or 2 years before she passed as well. But it was just everything. I mean, when she started singing, I saved everything. She wasn't singing any words, but I just used it. And because I just started crying. You know, it's just one of those moments which you have to capture it, and it was just right at the time, you know?
Yeah, I love that.
So plenty of those.
Love that. And mate, and again, just listening to you talk about them, again, looking over the career and amazing stuff that you've done individually, but then and listening to all them things, talking about them collaborations, is phenomenal. Just like you say, just an amazing journey. And I guess this is the one thing, like one of the big things I've taken from the podcast, everyone I've spoke to, is about the importance of life and how actually enjoying that journey, enjoying that process of
absolutely. And people always ask me, would you change anything to what you? No way. I mean, everything was meant to be where it was when it was. You know, I met Leon Ware when I was in the south of France doing the Midem Festival, singing. It was a tribute to Marvin Gaye, and I had no idea who Leon Ware was. this guy's, you know, it's huge. And then, you know, like for months. Can I say this now? I was, the first time I met Leon, we did a concert together, and then I ended up in a toilet cubicle with him and DeBarge smoking a spliff. And our friendship was sealed from there, basically. But it was, even then, I had no idea who he was. I end up in LA, and I'm with this guy, and I'm hanging out with him, and we end up in the Roxy. And you remember Goodfellas when they take him into the restaurant, but through the back, and then they take him to the front and sit him down? That's exactly what they did with Leon. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Gerald Albright's on the sax. He's going, this is for Leon Ware. I'm like, God damn, this is before internet, so I couldn't Google him. and then I find out, you know, obviously he'd written for Marvin, but then Michael Jackson, Minnie Riperton, the dude was just massive, you know what I mean? Maxwell, you know, just crazy. One of those journeys.
Wow. Look, we want to talk a little bit about the. I just want to delve into a little bit about the acting. Let's go. You know, obviously with the Essex twang. I'm from Dagenham. Down the road from EastEnders. Let's talk. I could be a Daddy Dyer wannabe. I think my wife would
Daddy
like me
Dyer,
to look more like Daddy Dyer.
He goes, "You're liquid sex, you are." Liquid sex.
Avery Baker, talk to me about that. Talk to me about that.
I got an email from my agent going, "Shall I tell him no?" And I went, "What?" And I read it. It said, "Oh, they want you. Are you available between this time and that time?" I went, "Hell yeah!" I mean, and then I read up on the part, and it was like, "Oh, this is me, man." You know what I mean? Smoking a cigar, wearing a 3-piece, turn up in a Bentley, chatting up Sam Mitchell. And then
I love that scene where you drive through the square and you tell him a story.
This is my sick cat. And it was just like, and then I'm in the pub playing the piano as well, and we're having a sing song. That part was written for me, you know what I mean? But the thing is, I've been acting since 2009 and doing various bits and pieces as well. That's just the biggest thing that people have seen me. You know, it's funny, a lot of people only recognize me for that. People have no idea that I do music. You know, oh, hey, Avery, all right, mate, yeah, lovely. I'll take it, you know what I mean? I'll take it, no, it's no problem, but yeah.
What about, because you've done musicals as well, what do you prefer, like screen or stage?
I don't know. I've got a one-man show that I do as well, which is it's a 50-minute monologue with songs that I play as well. That's a really nice thing because it's quite intimate. It's like I could do it here. Yeah. It's about the right size.
100%.
I'll have a word.
Book it now.
Yeah, right. But no, I mean, but the experience of EastEnders was amazing. Roger Griffiths, who plays my brother, he basically gave me a crash course on what to do and what not to do, and I just stuck with him basically. And it was just, I just loved turning it up at 7 a.m. and, you know, getting into the costume and then, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. It's just fantastic. You can't really, you know, you can't explain it any better than that, really.
Great experience. Like, again, people know me. I'm very much a yes man. People say to me, "You're going to do something." Yeah, I'll do that, and you figure it out later. Yeah. Because life's an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And you go, actually, I'll grab that because you know them and them experience. Look, we're sitting in there talking about that as an experience that you go, yeah. And your agent said, "Should we say no?" No, wait. I'm in. Let's jump in.
No, I'm going to do that. The only thing is they kill me off. I died. And there's nowhere coming back unless I'm Bobby Ewing. You're all showing your age again now, if you know what that is.
Right. Listen, we're coming sort of towards there. We talked a little bit, obviously, offline as well. I've got twins. You're father to twins as well.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit. Work-life balance, what does that look like to you?
It's fantastic. I mean, we moved to Brighton in 2009. It's the best place, I think. Really. I mean, come on. There's lots of trials and tribulations I see all around the country. I don't see it in Brighton at all. And, you know, our girls...
We're in a bubble here, aren't we?
Well, I mean, I think we are, but what a lovely bubble.
Yeah, I love it.
You know what I mean? I mean, this place looks like Miami in the summertime. You know, I feel like I'm in another country, but they're thriving here as well. Two completely different girls, because one is all hair, makeup, clothes and stuff. The other one couldn't care about any less about that. But yeah, they're doing really well at school as well. Dancers, because their mother's a dance teacher. They've just been excelling at dance as well. Great singers, but they would never let me tell them what to do when it comes to singing. Well, I'm dad, aren't I? So it's brilliant down there.
But would they a possible career in music for them, or
I don't know. And the world
would
is.
you encourage that?
No. The world is their oyster. I mean, they've got their sights set on, and it changes all the time. One is very much into textiles. She said she wants to do something with Pinterest. That's where she's got a really good eye as well. When I've seen the photographs and stuff, she knows where to put things and place them. But she's excellent in maths, Spanish, you know, all across the board. And same thing with the other one. So it could be anything at this point, you know, just as long as they're doing well. One wants to go to Rodine, so I'm gonna have to get a number one or something like that. You set your sights a little bit low.
And teenage girls, so mine are going to be 8 in May. Still at that nice stage, they still run up to me and go, Daddy.
Yeah, mine are,
Advice for me for teenagers?
Well, when I answer the phone, it's all right, how much or where to? That's what they're asking, you know. You just got to let them do their thing, you know, because they are teenagers now, you know, they're all developing into these adults and stuff. It's crazy, because one likes to have parties around my flat, and there's these 6-footers coming. She's got a boyfriend now as well.
Yeah, I can't go. I told you I can't
Give
go
me a
there,
minute.
Yeah.
6'1", he's only 14, and there's like 5 or 6 of them. You know what I mean? But they're all great kids. You know what I mean? They're very respectful, and I think we just did a really good job. We can be proud that we brought them up nice. But also thank you to Brian, you know, because it's a great place.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree, mate. Well, look, tell me what's. We're going to jump into our quick fire questions in a bit, but just tell me what's next. What's next for you?
Right. So I'm just about to sign the next album 9. It's called Brighter the Days, and it's like in the next 2 weeks. We're signing on the dotted line. Very happy with that. Got people like India Ari, Paul Weller, Giggs, and others to be named. But just really happy that I managed to get onto this, you know, onto the next stage. I also I wrote down a few of the stories and stuff that happened to me when I was at school in Manchester, and then I showed it to my friend who wrote me my one-man play, Shay Walker, and we've turned it into a drama series, which is now, I think, just about to be taken up by Tiger Aspect as well. So that's in the pipeline, and also Sadler's Wells want to do a musical based on my music as well. So lots of spinning plates and fires.
Exciting times ahead, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to keep working.
Love it.
It's just short life. Got to live it properly.
Love that. Love that. Well, look, on the podcast, always I finish with some quick fire questions. So I'm going to chuck these ones at you. And sorry, mate. Everyone loves these ones. Right?
Go on.
If you could go back to any time in your life, when would it be and why? You wanted me to finish on
Okay, the 90s, I think. Nice, I reckon
nice.
that was when we were all young, free and carefree, and do you know what I mean? The world was our oyster. If I had to, then it'd be the 90s.
Amazing.
What did you say? No phones.
Yeah.
Oh, you're one of them, are you? Okay.
We'd be lost without them.
You sound like my ex-missus, yeah. Right.
Who's inspired you in your career and why?
Stevie was an obvious one, but my dad is the one that kind of he guided me in terms of like production and stuff, and he has this way of getting his vibe across without any words. He's like, no, you need some. You know, no, yeah, so, like that. And somehow I understand what he's talking about. Do you know what I mean? What you're listening to is a result of what my dad used to say to me. You know what I mean? So yeah, a big influence.
Look, mate, last one to finish off. Give me your one rule for living a fulfilled life.
Don't give a shit.
Love that. Love that.
Wow, that got an applause. Wow. Yeah.
Mate, listen, honestly, thank you so much for coming on. It's been, I'm sure everyone agrees, what an absolutely fascinating journey to listen to you, listen to you talk about. And look, we're going to, listen, firstly, massive round of applause, please.
Thank you.
I think we're going to, if you're okay, we've got a couple of minutes. We're going to open it up to some questions from the floor. Anyone got a question out there? I can't see because of the lights.
No, can I?
Here we go, Lindsay.
My favourite thing about Brighton, the smell of weed. No. Sorry, I meant the fresh air. I mean, it was incredible. Every corner I'm turning, it's like this. Wow. No, it's just like you said, it's a bubble that we live in here. It's like somewhere, all the problems that I hear in other parts of the country, I just don't hear it here. You know what I mean? And it's a blessing, absolutely. You know what I mean? My ex-missus used to say we should move down there. I was like, no, it's better in South London. What an idiot I was. You know what I mean? This is fantastic down there. So, yeah.
Love that. Anyone else?
Bit of an obvious one. Who would you like to sing with that you haven't done yet?
I'm a big fan of Pharrell because he's got some tunes out there which people are still banging right now, and he's stuck to the same formula of bass, drums, keys, guitar, which is the acoustic sounds, the original sounds. He's not messing about with samples and sequences and synthesizers so much. It's really, really simple, and I like his voice too. I think we'd blend quite well.
Pete, go for it. Mate, using the prime seat.
Yeah. Well, basically ask, what inspires you in your music?
What inspires my music? I've got it's reggae, Latin, funk, soul, jazz, classical, and anything could come from there. It come from the bass line, could come from the drum beat, it could come from the chords. And it's just as simple as that. And once I get it in my brain, it's like a little worm. I've got to put it down and I've got to put something to it. Simple as that. Just even washing up, something might happen. Just doing that kind of thing. And, ooh, yeah, that kind of thing. And weed, yeah.
There's a theme here. There's a theme.
There's got a couple at the back here you can't see, so I've got a couple of cushions at the back.
Go for it, mate.
For best venue for whether it's emotion or sound or response or.
I'm a big fan of intimate venues. So the smaller, the better. Up to 500 is a good size. I regularly do the Jazz Cafe. I'm trying to think where else. The New Morning in Paris is another good one because people are right there in front of you, and it's none of that. I did something at Christmas with Trevor Nelson. It was Soul at Christmas. And the venue's lovely, it's gorgeous, but you just get lost in sound and you need the earphone things and stuff like that. And so, my ideal venue is a smaller one.
Nice.
Hiya, over here. Hiya, Sam. Hiya. Hi, Omar.
Hi.
First of all, can I say there's nothing like this as a tune. Well done.
Hey!
Thank you.
Absolute tune. So who do you listen to now? What artists do you reckon?
Do you know, I've been listening to some old artists. Or you asked me about new ones?
Yes.
Okay. Joe Culpepper is a kid that's doing his stuff. And Children of Zeus. Those guys are really, really kicking right now. Little Sims. She's got a vibe to her as well. those three, I think. I mean, there's more. But who I'm listening to right now is Jonathan Jeremiah. Has anybody heard of him? Who's the people that sang "Take Me to Church"?
Where's my wife? She didn't know that one.
Hosier. That's where they got their sound from. Jonathan Jeremiah. Remember I said that to you. And when you listen to it, you go, oh my God, that's them. And then, of course, I was listening to Burt Bacharach. My God. Wow. Just an amazing, what prolific songwriter. And The Four Seasons was another one. Yeah, incredible. I used to listen to my mum's records on a Sunday morning. I remember I used to get up at 8 a.m. just to go down and put on these albums. Four Seasons would be one. Elvis would be another one. I'm a big Elvis fan. Because he's got the same dom. Yeah. And yeah, those kind of things were the things that inspired me when I was younger.
Got another one over here to your right, Sam.
Yes.
Right.
Hello. This has already kind of been answered, but I was just wondering if there were kind of any under-wrap musicians that haven't been kind of discovered it yet that you're
Any
a fan of, kind of undiscovered musicians.
undiscovered?
Like, working their way.
I'm trying to think of who? Ren, yeah. Well, I've known that name for ages. Is Ren in here? No. Ren, that rings a bell as well. I'm trying to think of any undiscovered, yet to be discovered. Yeah, but you wouldn't know the names. I could say anything, couldn't I? Rin tin tin tin.
I'll go and put a $5 on that to be
Brian
number one.
Forger. Yeah. Sorry. Or
Brilliant.
yes is the answer. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I think
more?
that we have got some.
Sorry,
Yeah, we're still going. We're still going.
Hi, Omar.
Hi.
Track you wish you'd written?
Oh, good question.
The Girl from Ipanema. I mean, it's millions, but that's the first one that came to my mind.
Quick two-parter. What was it like on the school run with your kids, considering you had a profile? And do your kids get how massive you actually were? Or are you just a sad, embarrassing dad?
Yeah, I was embarrassing dad for a long time, trust me. And then it's only when they started going to secondary school and then other kids started looking on my Instagram going, oh, your dad's, oh, yeah, he's all right, he's cool. Like, before, I was like, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? But yeah, people aren't going to stop you on the school run and go, oh my God, kind of thing, because you're doing the school run. It makes no difference. I'm no different, am I? I'm just a dad trying to get his kids into school and trying not to park in front of the school because you get the parking ticket, which you always
pulling
do
up
in Brighton.
Your Avery Baker Bentley.
In your Avery Baker Bentley, exactly. I wish I could have done that.
Brilliant. Well, we have got one more. Time for one more. Go for it.
One question.
No worries.
Okay, what's the story behind There's Nothing Like This?
So I was going through my dad's record collection, and I came across this album by the band called the Ohio Players, and the album's called Skin Tight, and there's a track called Heaven Must Be Like This, and this is 89. I'm listening to this, so you imagine it's I see, and rap had just started, and everything was like, samples and sequences and stuff. And this was just pure, it was just ecstasy on a record. And the strings, and if you listen to the bass line, I kind of ripped it off, basically. But I was like, nobody else is doing this. I need to do this to make a point, you know what I mean? So that's why I did start with the bass line, put the drums down, put the keys, put the strings, and then I stopped at 5 o'clock and went and bought a draw. And then I wrote the lyrics, and then it was done by 7 p.m. The time for EastEnders, exactly. That's a lovely way to end that, isn't it? Yeah.
Listen, mate, again, Thank you so much. What a brilliant, lovely conversation to have with you
Thank
and
you.
share your journey. Listen, everyone, Omar. Wow. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. Can't put him on the spot like that. Hang on a minute.
I say that I love you so, and I mean it so. From the bottom of my heart, I'm telling you truthfully, baby. I saw that something in your eyes, comes to no surprise that you turn me oh so giddy. Yup, I love you. Tell me that you love me too. Yeah, yeah. I love you. Tell me that you love me too. Listen to me, baby. Good job.
This is the County Business Talks podcast, produced by H2 Productions.